Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025, and the time is 7 p.m. We are coming from an evening of celebration already with Wade Shackelford's dedication for the new Agricultural Center, and we have another full evening of celebrations this evening as well. The meeting of the Prosper ISD Board of Trustees is hereby called to order according to the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Representing the quorum tonight are David Webb, Mr. Jordan Dial, Mr. Kelly Cavender, Mr. Garrett Linker, and Mr. Tommy Van Wolf, and myself, Dina Dixon, filling in for President Bill Beavers until he is able to arrive. The Board of Trustees extends its heartfelt gratitude to our entire Prosper ISD community. We are deeply appreciative of our residents who approved a $2.7 billion bond for the new school construction, our dedicated teachers and staff who tirelessly serve our students and families, our parents who support our teachers and campuses through volunteering and partnering with us in their children's education, and our exceptional campus and district leaders, whom we believe are the finest in Texas and continuously strive for excellence. Your collective commitment to Prosper ISD is what makes our district thrive. Thank you for choosing and supporting our schools. This evening, David Webb will lead us in our invocation.
All right, let's pray. Lord, we come to you with humble hearts and open minds. We ask for your wisdom and divine guidance as we partner as a school board and as a community to ensure the best education possible for every student here in Prosper ISD. God, may you continue to give us strength and direction in the decisions that we make. We also ask that you continue to be with our state leaders and legislators as they are in the final stages of making decisions that deeply affect public education. God, may their hearts and minds be open to doing what is best for the future of this incredibly important work of public education for students across Texas, but here in Prosper especially, Lord, we ask that. God, we thank you for every student, family, educator, educational leader, and community member in this district. We ask for your continued blessing, providence, grace, and peace for our district and this state. May we know how much you love each of us, and may we do our very best to love and encourage one another every day. And all my friends said,
Amen.
Amen.
If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas Pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Mr. Dial, will you read the board vision?
Absolutely. The board's vision is to ensure a safe and supportive educational environment that promotes academic excellence and opportunities, honors traditions, fosters student learning, facilitates effective recruitment and retention of talented educators, and grows all people at all levels.
Thank you. As always, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, which can be found in Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. All of our voting must be in public, but we can privately discuss certain items, including, but not limited to, matters regarding individual employees, individual students, land acquisition and real estate, safety, school safety and security, and matters regarding legal advice. However, after that private discussion, any final vote must be in complete view of the public. In accordance with the Open Meeting Act, the agenda for tonight's evening was posted for the public to view at least 72 hours before the meeting. And as you'll see on the screen, we have future important dates. We have begun the first day of early voting. So we have a culture of voting in Prosper ISD. We encourage everyone to go out and vote. Election day, May 3rd. And as you can see, the dates coming up, regular school board meeting, early release, and graduations are coming up soon. And then, as we mentioned, we have a full evening of special celebrations for our students.
Yes, we do. It's my favorite part of the meeting. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Carrie Thomas, who's Executive Director of the Prosper Education Foundation, Mr. Ruby Bledsoe, and Mr. Shane Williams. On April 7th, Prosper Education Foundation hosted its annual golf tournament to raise funds for the students and staff of Prosper ISD. The tournament raised $170,000. We're grateful to all of those who participated and sponsored this event. Dr. Carrie Thomas, to my right, is the Executive Director of PEF and is with us tonight to present a check that would be their cash after this, right after this event. So, would also like to recognize two gentlemen who are joining us, Mr. Roby Wetzel and Shane Williams. Come forward, please. They're here because they are representing the golf tournament as a presenting sponsor with co-construction. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we're going to go back in time. And one of the things that I love about being superintendent of this district is that we have a district full of winners. Teachers who win kids' hearts, but also coaches who go above and beyond to ensure that our kids' athletic performance, fine art performance is at the next level, and certainly academic performance. And we're going to jump into a few things tonight. Our boys UIL 6A wrestling state meet, which was held in February. Jack Ringer from PHS, will you please come forward if you're with us? And Coach Long, Coach Dibble, and Coach Wilhelm, if you're here, we'd also like for you to join us. And Mr. Jones, the Prosper High School. Also, Jeff Smith, if you'll come join us too, he is our athletic director, and we certainly can't do anything we do in athletics without his dedication and loyalty to Prosper ISD athletics. So Jack is a state runner-up at 175 pounds, District 6 6A champion, Region 2 6A champion, and finished your high school career with over 100 wins. That is impressive, sir. So congratulations on such a high honor. I want to say also a huge thank you to your coaches, your principal, and your athletic director, because it takes truly a team. Jack, where are your parents? I know they're here. All right, parents, y'all go ahead and come on up. This is a family event, right? Because we know we didn't get here without you. And if y'all know anything about 6A sports, academics, athletics, it is some tough competition at all levels. And 6A is like running through a gauntlet trying to get to that state level. So congratulations, Jack. We're super proud of you, and we're going to take a photo. Congratulations. Coach Smith, stay with me for a minute. So not once, but twice, this young lady has won the state championship in 6A wrestling, and she comes from our very own Rockville High School. Hayden Stein, please come and join me. Hayden is a two-time state champion, so last year as a junior, this year as a senior, and voted most outstanding female wrestler for the state tournament. So again, very impressive when you get to the level of 5A, 6A, where our high schools are. It is not an easy thing to reach that level, and certainly back-to-back championships. She's undefeated, ending the season with 40 wins. Hayden, what are your plans? There you go. All right, and did y'all hear that? Go to the next level. Olympics.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
Got her coaches and her parents as well. So parents, please come join us. And then Coach Livingston, Coach Foley, and Coach Morgan, please come on up. And we have Mr. Mouton here with us, our principal of the guild. I'm going to let you get in there. I do want to stand next to Olympian, though. I didn't know everything. Congratulations, Hayden. Coach Smith, just stay with me. What's going on? So we have girls UIL 5A swim and dive state meet. So this is for Walnut Grove High School, placing third. We have the Walnut Grove swim and dive team. Please come forward with your coaches. We want to say congratulations on your third place finish at the Girls UIL 5A Swim and Dive State Meet. In addition to this weekend, that's the wrong school. I'm going to save that. Oh, wait, Coach O's not here, is he? Yeah? Okay, all right. We'd like to recognize the relay teams and an individual performance. The relay team of Ella Glass, Paige Paula, and Michael Moravito and Morgan Farlow finished second in the 200 medley relay and third in the 400 freestyle relay. Morgan Farlow is the girls' 5A champion in both the 200 individual medley and the 500 freestyle. She holds the team record in both of these events. So, nothing easy about it, right? Meet after meet, practice after practice, injuries that may have come in play, but through the support of your coaches, your parents, athletic director, and your principal, and great people who were cheering you on all the way, we are so very proud of your accomplishment, and we just want to say congratulations to you. Congratulations. So next up, we have the boys UIL 5A Swim and Dive State Meet from Walnut Grove High School, the state champions. Walnut Grove boys 5A Swim and Dive champions, please come forward with your coaches who are already up here. Such a huge honor. Congratulations for bringing home the 5A Boys Swim and Dive Championship trophy. In addition to the team championship, we'd like to recognize two individual swimmers for their accomplishments at the state meet. Nathaniel Washburn finished third in the 500 freestyle, and Graydon Barker in the 5A state champion in the 100 butterfly and the 500 freestyle. He now holds the team record in both events. So congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to you all. I know that many of you know that we have another state champion at Walnut Grove with our 5A boys soccer. That will be next month. So we'll have more celebrations to come, and hopefully some track and field athletes might get joined in on that fun as well. Maybe some softball, baseball, so that might be June. Hopefully we'll be at the state meet with that. So we'd like to recognize our National Merit Commended Scholars. We're going to slip over into the academic arena, which is how our students go on to that next level. Just like what Hayden said, she's going to go into college to wrestle. She is a student athlete, and these athletes that are in our buildings are student athletes. We also have athletes, in my opinion, on the academic side, and they go after the gold just as well as our athletes do in the ISD athletics. So our National Commended Scholars. The National Merit Scholarship Program is an academic competition for recognition and scholarships. High school students enter the program by taking the PSAT, which serves as an initial screening for approximately 1.3 million entrants each year. Tonight, we recognize our students who have achieved the highest national merit honors. National Merit Commended Scholars are the top 2 to 4% of all high school graduating seniors who sit for the PSAT. Prosper ISD is proud to have 39 National Merit Commended Scholars. This is an increase from 23 Commended Scholars from last year. Wow. That's a clap right there.
the screen, if you'll please come and join me at the front, I would love to have you come up and be honored so we can congratulate you appropriately. So we're going to start over here. I want you to tell everyone your name and introduce yourself.
My name's Lulu.
My name's Eleanor.
I'm Jack. My name's Edward. I'm Sergio. I'm Neeraj.
And Mishka. Freya.
My name is Sasha. Luke. Neil.
I'm Eliza.
I'm Jacob.
Excellent. Congratulations to you all. It's such an impressive thing that you've been able to accomplish. And if you're not aware, national merit also equals money, scholarship money. So it is a huge honor. And certainly I know their parents, raise your hand. I can put you all up here. But your commitment from birth to this point has been next level, making sure that you're pushing them as high as you academically could to ensure their success. And so we thank you for being a partner with us to get to this point. So congratulations to you all.
Outstanding.
Good problem files for pictures too big. 1, 2, 3. Fabulous. Congratulations again.
Congrats. Good going.
We also have national merit finalists. 13 Prosper ISD students have been named national merit finalists, placing them among the top 1% of students across the nation, not the state, the nation, who entered the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Program. To become a finalist, students submitted a detailed scholarship application which included information about their academic records, participation in school and community activities, leadership abilities, employment, honors, and awards, and an essay. So certainly looking for that well-rounded student who has that high level of academic performance. They also scored highly on the PSAT test. If you are a finalist, please come forward. Have each one of you introduce yourself, if you'll please go ahead. I'm Nadia. I'm Savannah.
I'm Isaac. Jake.
And you'll notice in front of you, you may not be able to see this, but students are represented from all 3 of our high schools in Prosper ISD. So the standard is high and you have raised the bar. So congratulations to each and every one of you for being that well-rounded, high academic achieving student.
Well done.
Don't move. Have your parents raise their hands. They get shout outs. There they are. Look at them. Pictures. I just want to make sure before I let them go. Congratulations.
Well done.
Nice work.
Very good. Y'all are off the hook now. We're now going to move into our valedictorians and salutatorians. It always amazes me how quickly the school year will flash by. And when we get to this point, I know that graduation is just around the corner, as Ms. Dixon said earlier, but we certainly want to highlight those top 2 students at each of our high schools. It's my honor to introduce the exceptional individuals who have gone above and beyond, not only in academics, but in character, leadership, and dedication throughout their years here. These are the students who have set the standard, inspired their peers, and earned their place at the top of their class. Tonight we recognize the valedictorian and salutatorian from each high school. From Prosper High School with Mr. Jones, we have Chloe Phillips, valedictorian. She's busy being academic.
Yes.
We'll catch her next time.
She's got homework.
Sanjay Rajan, salutatorian.
So Mr. Jones is a little obnoxious at the University of Texas. If you've ever met him, you would hear this, so we had to stop for a moment because it's where you're going to school, and very quietly. So you need to say that a little louder. So off to University of Texas, home of the Longhorns, I've heard from Mr. Jones. And what are you going after? We're working on degree, not computer science. Excellent. Well, congratulations, and we look forward to hearing your speech. Graduation. You will inspire us. Next up, we have Mr. Mouton as the principal of Rock Hill High School. We have the valedictorian, Shanat Fateh, and he's unable to attend tonight. And we have Nishka Lal. And I think Nishka is. Nishka, where are you headed off to? We have a difference. I like that. Georgia Tech. Okay. Very good. Well, congratulations. What are you going to major in? Computer science. Excellent. Very good. Congratulations. And last but not least, we have Walnut Grove High School. Mr. Tate, if you'll please come join me as the principal of Walnut Grove. We have Evan Griffin, the valedictorian. Yes, he's already been up once, now returning.
There you go.
Congratulations to you both. Okay, where are you headed in? Okay. Oh, I heard that sound this morning. So okay, you're going to hear a lot of that. Congratulations to you both. We look forward to hearing your speeches that will be inspiring and moving to all the Wildcats at graduation.
Okay, we will now head into a quick intermission. Students, y'all are certainly more than welcome to stay if you'd like to, but if not, this is a great off-ramp, and thank y'all for coming. Still here, I think y'all are the real winners this evening because we have some fabulous informational reports coming up. So thank y'all for remaining with us. With that, I will we'll go off into the informational reports.
So an expectation by the state of Texas is that trustees have their continuing education hours prior to the election, which will be held on May 3rd. And it is to be reported the month prior to the election. And so we are sharing that information. It is the April meeting, and the May meeting will be coming. So everyone is up to date. Next, we have Dr. Penn will present tonight our quarterly financial update.
Good evening, board. A little bit of a complex. Everybody left as soon as I got up here, but
We heard you were coming.
it's fine. It's fine. Good to see everyone this evening. So we are going to look through the quarter ending February 28th of 2025. So the first look is our investments reported out by fund. I know you've had this for a while. I'm still going to hit the highlights for those tuned in at home and those that stayed. Thank you. So the first one we're going to highlight is just the bond funds and the comparison to last year. Obviously, we sell bonds a time or two a year, and so as we replenish those funds, then we spend them in the construction of our facilities, and we are in the peak building time right now. Later in the presentation, we'll look at the specific projects we're working on, and then later this evening, Mr. Witt will also present a coming bond sale because this is the end of February. Obviously, we've had almost 2 months since then, and then the process from when we start selling to when we receive funds is usually about 2 months, depending on things. So we're always looking down ahead from the facilities we're building. So we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight on the facilities, and then Mr. Witt will come up later this evening. Some of the changes you see from prior year on things such as food service, general fund, and interest in sinking, obviously that is just as our budget continues to grow each year. As we are growing, all of those will grow accordingly. Our next slide of investments, this is the same dollar amount, but it's rearranged by where the money is held, and then the percentage of the portfolio and where they are at. But those tie back to the funds themselves on the prior slide. The next graph is going to look at just kind of we're going to get into the tables and the numbers in a minute, but just a visual representation of our general fund revenue. I like the visual graphic of this because it just continues to highlight that our funding is from the formula of the students that we have in attendance. That there's very little we can do outside of that. You see that 2.8% of our miscellaneous revenue, but the vast majority of our funding is related to the formula that is made up from the state and the property taxes that is driven by our average daily attendance number. There's a visual representation, but then this next slide will give you kind of our numbers on the taxes and the state revenue compared to prior. We do plan to exceed this right now. The finance department is working on our revenue as the year goes on, our revenue becomes more and more concrete. So as we wrap up the fifth 6 weeks and sixth 6 weeks, those are the kind of the outstanding ones we are working at closely. The PEMS department does a great job with that, led by Director Kim Doyle, on kind of verifying the numbers that we get from attendance, collecting attendance notes, and all the various softwares that process these. And we want to make sure that those data are correct. And then we'll finalize the fifth and sixth 6 weeks, and that will really firm up the revenue side. So we can kind of get that done a little sooner. The expenses, obviously, this is 6 months in. And when we talk about that, so we've still got half the year to go on that front, but feeling strong about exceeding our revenue projections for the year. The next slide goes into presenting kind of the visual on the expense side. Again, we highlight this every time we can. The vast majority of our budget on the expense side goes to personnel. And it's great because right now we're going to look at the category, but in a moment, in the major object. But when we break into category in a moment, you'll see how much of it is going into our instructional programming as well. So just that our salaries and personnel surrounding that. And then things like a lot of the services and utilities, most of that is beyond our control too, because the utilities cost to take care of our facilities. So, on the number side, so of the $362 million budget, almost $300 million of that is dedicated to the salaries that we have. As we look at these objects, again, we are really, at the timing of this, about 6 months, so really halfway through our budget year. And so everything is tracking really where we would expect to see it at this time of the year. Really, as the season goes on and we get through the summer, and we'll have a better idea of how we don't anticipate we should be under on that. We historically have been and are tracking that way again this year. So it's just going to see how the coming months continue to go on that outlook. This is going to be the same dollar amount, but split up by categories. And so again, almost 70% going to instructional. And so the breakdown of that, and so we do this by function. So 11, 12, and 13 are things that really directly impact the classroom. And again, that is the vast majority of our budget. And then you see kind of the breakdown of the other areas and where they go, and really how they are significantly smaller in comparison to that. And those are also tracking really where we would expect to see at 6 months into our year. And so pleased with that. Most of them are obviously under 6 months. Not everything works on an even 6 month, especially on our teacher campus salaries or through an accrual accounting process, which is why that's a little bit above the 50% at 6 months in. Then the next set, we're going to go into bond funds. Remember, we are primarily working through Bond 2019 and Bond 2023. We have projects going both. This is really, we're about to start seeing that shift where almost everything's going to be coming out of 2023. These are the last projects currently underway using 2019 funds. And so you can see all of those are campuses that will open this coming year, and all of them are about at their spend mark. And so, and then of those that are not there, we'll continue to get there through school opening, and then really a little bit beyond. There is some costs that come after the school opens. So, but those are the 2019 bond funds and the final projects that have been begun that are still remaining in that fund. The next slide is going to talk about the 2023 Proposition A Fund, which is primarily facilities and buses and things of that nature. And these obviously still have ways to go, and most of them are going to be opening in the future years. And Mr. Witt is here tonight in a little bit to talk about these, and some of the projects that the next bond sale would fund is what would complete these bar graphs and can continue to fund these schools that are going to be under construction, currently under construction, and will continue to be under construction all next school year in preparation to open the following fall. So we're always working on projects, just like we do budget and auditing, same thing on the construction project. We're looking out 2 and 3 years, well, really beyond that, but projects that we're working on there. So that is the 2023. The last 2 slides are really focused on Prop B, which is our technology fund. Those budgets work a little bit different as we acquire things, those kind of build those budgets as we go. So that's just, I know on your screens and the details there, you can kind of see just various equipment that has been purchased from that, from those for kind of existing usages right now and ongoing projects. And then the last slide is technology geared to those schools. Because of when this was time, the budget was built in our system, which is why you see a budget without a spend, but there are purchases being made out of that. So next time you see this, there'll be purchases out of that for those schools opening in the fall. That completes the quarterly financials. I know you continue to get these each month and stay abreast. And also wanted to thank our finance committee that we got to meet Mr. Cavender and Mr. Van Wolf and Mr. Dial with Mr. Witt and Dr. Ferguson earlier. And while Mr. Witt will speak a little bit earlier, we spent at least an hour plus, probably closer to 2. It's okay though. I love you guys. I love you guys. I enjoy that time. It's a very special time to me. Sorry, I can't. I'm just kind of unhinged. I apologize. Please forgive me, boss. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. I haven't been up here in a while, and I kind of got loose. I forgot how to do it. Sorry. But I am appreciative of that time spent. I know it's a lot, and we can't always do everything in these evenings. So thank you for carving that time out and providing your insights and just helping us prepare and make sure we're thinking about the right things as we look forward. That I'm complete unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Penn. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
sir.
You and
Thank
the
you.
team.
Thank you,
Ms.
sir.
Croy and Ms. Lopez, thank you, and that whole finance team over there. This does not happen easily. A lot of tedious work that they put in to ensure we're accurate with reporting. So you can see we have an ad of a little over 3,000 students. Our current enrollment as of today is actually 32,228 students. We'll start kind of plateauing around the time of state testing and the end of the school year, but still pick up a few kids here and there. There are parents that like to come before school's out so that kids can meet kids in the neighborhood, and so we'll see a little bit of a uptick, but we also have students that may be leaving also to go visit family and different things, and so we'll see some of that kind of leveling out as we move from this month into May. Right. And then our bond projects for 2019, I know Dr. Penn was talking about where those funds are coming from both 2019 and 2023, but we have just a little bit of a view into what's happening around our district with these projects through a video. progress and all of the things that are going on with multiple construction projects. And I know you're seeing on the renovations, things taking shape, which is kind of cool to start seeing those changes that are being made to those existing facilities. Dr. Bradley is with us tonight. He's going to give us an update on the Performing Arts Center with the partnership with the City of Frisco. We also have E.A. Hoppy with us, who is the Assistant City Manager for the City of Frisco. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you coming. All right, Dr. Bradley, we will turn it over to you, sir.
All right, thanks, Dr. Ferguson, members of the board. Yes, thanks to EA for being here. EA has been a partner in this. Certainly a group of consultants in the City of Frisco have been great to us, and so I appreciate him being here tonight. I also want to thank Mr. Alstron, Mr. Dole, Coach Little. They have all spent a lot of time as we have helped develop this project. And so I wanted to present this to you tonight. I apologize, it's a little lengthier than we normally present. I'll try to run through it. I want you to know that we took this slide deck from the information that the City of Frisco has put out, but I tried to reduce it to some things that were a little more germane to us. And so I apologize if it skips around a little bit. But this project, as you know, the voters of Prosper ISD authorized us in the 2023 bond to have up to $125 million to spend on a Performing Arts Center. We've had a lot of conversations about that and pursued this project with the City of Frisco. And we have been working full steam ahead for this. And there is, you know, as we mentioned earlier, that it's election time, and there are residents in our district that live in the City of Frisco that can participate in this election. And so I wanted to bring that to your attention tonight. But also let you know that a lot of work, the City of Frisco has certainly put a ton of work into this previously. We have spent a lot of time developing what this project would look like. And I wanted to share that with you tonight. We've started to get quite a few questions in the district about this project. What does it mean? What happens if this were to pass in the election? How would we move forward? And so this is just a little timeline to show you that we have been working really in the fall of '24. We began to work on this and pick an architect, a design architect, and an operator. And this is a big project with a lot of moving parts. And so I wanted to just provide some information tonight that might help. One of the things I want you to know right off the bat, questions that we get, the City of Frisco gets quite a bit. This is a unique partnership for us to commit up to $100 million of district funds on this. What do we get out of it? And then the City of Frisco putting in a ton of money as well. And I want you to know that we have spent a lot of time already planning out what this might look like, because this would be a shared building and a shared space. What you will see, and I'll try to draw your attention to, but I wanted you to see it right off the bat. The community hall is a smaller space, a 300 to 400 seat black box type theater, but it's much more robust than that. I don't want to undersell it. This is a beautiful room that would seat 300 to 400, but also along with this is a classroom and spaces for our kids who would be there daily. So when we say that the community usage of this is 84% in the community hall, what that means is really this: we will use it 100% of school days. So we're there every day, but we will not have an event there every night, right? It would just be impossible. We don't do that in our own auditoriums. And so 84% community use means that in the community hall, the district has the first right of refusal to use that whenever we want, but we understand there'll be dates when we would not want to use it, and we certainly have the opportunity for the community to use that space. Be very valuable square footage and a place for people to rent and the community to be a part of. The same thing happens in the large hall. The large hall, as I'll show you in a minute, is a 2,800 seat Broadway hall. This is a world-class facility, and as a part of our partnership, we would have dates that we would be able to use this. I've been asked multiple times, how many dates? Well, that depends a little bit on how much we need, right? There's certain things that would make sense in a 2,800 seat hall and certain things that would not. I wouldn't want to have an event that's going to bring 50 people and put them in a 2,800 seat hall. And so what we have done, Mr. Alstron and his team were great working with us on a pro forma of how many nights we would expect to use this. Again, if this thing goes to fruition, we're talking about it opening in 2030. So I want you to know, when we're talking about 5 years into that, we're talking about 2035. So we're planning out having 6 high schools, 12 middle schools. What does this look like? Because this building is going to be around for 50 years, right? And so we have looked at all of that, taken what we currently use our high school auditoriums for, and then began to plan out what we would use this community hall and this large hall for. So when you see all of that in there, please don't be concerned about what our kids are going to have access to. They're going to have access to all of it, right? We are getting, I believe, an awesome deal out of this for our kids. This is just another thing that we're looking at. Hey,
PISD and community use. We already calendared out days that we anticipate that we would need a use for this. We know things for us on a school schedule kind of go on routine. You know, around the holidays, we're gonna have a lot of holiday concerts, right? We know at the start of the year, we're gonna have some events that we might want teachers in the room. We know at the end of the year, we're gonna have some spring concerts. And so we're able to kind of, hey, this is what we already project we would use. And that helps the facility know that, hey, these dates need to be reserved for the school district. We can bring Broadway and other community events in at other times. And so just wanted you to know that we spent a lot of time looking at that already as we looked at this partnership. And then this just spells out kind of how do we get here? We're talking about a project that could cost up to $340 million. And how do we get there? We know that we would be committing $100 million to this. The city of Frisco is bringing a lot of money to the table as well, around $160 million. But they also anticipate corporate gifts, as you'll see in this, of $50 to $60 million, and individual gifts of the same. This is not something that, again, is new to the city of Frisco. Many partnerships like this in other facilities, and have already done some groundwork on this to how this could be fully funded. And so there is a partnership that involves the city, ourselves, the Economic Development Corporation, and other individuals. What's going on the May 3rd election is simply this. The voters in Frisco have to decide on two propositions. Proposition A, as you see, would be authorization to utilize Type A EDC, the Economic Development Corporation sales tax funds for these purposes, okay? So that funds that originate from sales tax funds could be authorized for this. And then on Proposition B, authorization to issue debt for the project not to exceed $160 million. That $160 million, just to be clear, is separate from our $100 million, okay? That would be the city of Frisco bringing that. So the voters in the city of Frisco have to make that decision now in early voting and May 3rd, okay? In order for this project to move forward at this time, both of those would need to pass, right? And so that's what's on the ballot at this time. This is how the state educates you on whether you want to vote yes or no. You're familiar with bond language. I know all the voters are going to read that entire paragraph, okay? But that is what we're doing right there, okay? That is in an essay form, all right? So that is what will go on. I wanted to talk to you about the facility operator selection process. The city of Frisco and Prosper ISD participated in selecting a facility operator. We went through a whole process, letter of intent, looking at who might operate this facility. To be clear, the city of Frisco would own this facility. We would own the part that we have contributed to, but a third-party operator would run this because someone is going to need to book Broadway shows and concerts on Friday night and whatever else is coming in, right? And the city of Frisco nor the Prosper ISD wants to have to fund this facility. We want it to operate on its own. We want the cost to be covered by events that people are paying to come see. So we need a third-party operator who has experience running a facility like this, bringing Broadway shows in, understanding how much money they would generate, how this would operate, and then just all the community events that want to be held there. This is one of the reasons that we talked about partnering here is because it would relieve us of all the maintenance and operations costs. We are going to have some cost on the maintenance and operations side, but if we built this on our own, it would be 100% ours versus a split. And so we looked at third-party operators. We went through a whole framework of what they would do, how they would manage it, and what we selected a group that's known as Frisco Live. They are a nonprofit corporation that bring the global perspective, as you see there, of Broadway across America, and the localized expertise of Broadway Dallas. So this group of people already has experience bringing Broadway shows here, right? And this is going to be a huge part of what makes this facility work and operate and keep us from having expenses. So we want Wicked and Hamilton and all of these shows to come through, right? And have opportunities for our kids to intern in those shows and learn about what's going on, but at the same time, generate funding. And so Frisco Live was one of the groups that submitted to this. We went through the process and felt that this third-party operator would be the best for us. And so this just talks about how they will manage it. One of the things that I want you to know is when I talk about internships of the Prosper ISD students in this facility, I'm not just talking about Broadway. I'm talking about our students being able to experience how do you run a venue like this? How do you man it? How do you do front of house? How do you do back of house? How do you operate ticket sales? These are real-world internships that our kids will be a part of every day. And so it's not just a one-off, hey, you get to participate in this. This is something that's going on every day of the year. And so the facility owner, as we see, is the city of Frisco. The operator is the one who's running it on a day-to-day basis, and then we are a part of those who are going to be providing content there. We're just the ones that are going to be there every day, right? We're going to have a presence in that building every day. And it's set up as an operator at risk structure, so the operator has some incentive to do well, because we're not filling the gap, right? And so they're going to set up a facility and run a facility that works well for everyone and makes sense, so that we get what we need out of it, the city of Frisco gets what they need, and then the operator can hopefully make money, generate funds for it to work. We went through a site analysis process. You're a little familiar with this, but just to educate the public, this is the site overview. We're talking about the southwest corner of the tollway and 380, basically right behind the Cinemark that took a decade to come, for those of us that have been here for a while. Just south of that is where we're talking about. Southwest of that is the Firefly development. That is what's going on right now. When you come over the 380 on the tollway and you look to your left, you see a massive amount of dirt work that has gone on in the last year. This is the beginnings of the Firefly development. Their PD with the city of Frisco dictates that all of that you kind of see there, that is has ponds and greenery and all of that, that is a park that they have to get done before they can go vertical on all their other stuff. So there is a huge contribution from that development to make this a beautiful spot. The little red rectangle that you see over there is where we're talking about the Performing Arts Center going. That land is owned by the Frisco Economic Development Corporation, okay? And so they would be contributing that land to this project, so there wouldn't be any land cost to Prosper ISD on this. This gets into a lot of stuff about the parking, what's going to work there, because you would imagine in a space like this, we have to anticipate what it looks like on day one, and also in year 15 when it's built out. And we're talking about high rises here. We're talking about class 1 office space. We're also talking about luxury townhomes, all kinds of things, and then a Legacy West type feel above this park area. Where you're going to have retail, restaurants, all of these things. It'll be very walkable. They've already got all these walkability studies, how long it would take you to go from a restaurant to the facility there. And so it's going to be a beautiful place when it's all laid out. And then just a little more information. You're familiar with the growth in this area. If I had shown you the Google slide of this from 10 years ago, that picture would be pretty bland. It's not the case now. Right, and so a lot of developments going on. You know that Fields West is developing just to the south of this. PGA is obviously going on just to the west. So there's a lot of development right in this area, and you're talking about a major corridor traffic, and you have to imagine that 10 years from now, it's not going to be less. So we're talking about a destination district that people would want to come to, which is another reason why we felt it would be a good project for us to be in. Again, this is just other views of the site development. There's been acoustical studies about traffic noise coming off of 380 and the tollway. There's a lot of things going on there to look at this. And really, as I just kind of wrap up tonight, I want you to know this. When I say world-class facility, I'm not using that term lightly. This project is a world-class facility. There are not many $340 million Broadway halls built in the U.S. every year, as in like normally there's zero. Right? So this is a project that's amazing. These are the prescient images the design architect, Pelly Clark, is putting forward. Pelly Clark is based in New Haven, Connecticut. They design Broadway halls and skyscrapers. This is what they do. And so I was able to sit on the process to select this architect. We went through a bunch of, EA in the group brought in fantastic architects from all over the United States and internationally. And this firm was selected. These are the prescient images that we're talking about using. So if you're picking those type buildings to design the building off of, I think you get a feel for what kind of building we're talking about. This is just a schematic design of what we're looking at right now. This shows you the 2,800 seat hall on the bottom right, the community hall on the top left, and then this community kind of corridor that runs right down the middle of the building, right? Which is going to be a livable space, a walkable space, and just it excites me to think about having kids there every day operating this space. And we've already had intentionality about laying this out, about where would buses drop kids off. If we're bringing elementary kids to see a Broadway play, how do we get them in the building? How do we do all that stuff? And so there's been a lot of thought put into this project already. Again, just laying out, hey, how would this stack? How would it look? What would the visuals look like? You're aware that the software now, it's pretty cool. We were looking the other day at our last meeting, going through this. And you can say, hey, what would the sun and shading look like on August 24th at 4 p.m.? And they can rotate it and show you what it looks like, right? Because we're talking about having some outdoor areas. Texas is a little bit warm. You may be familiar with that. Might not want to sit at an outdoor concert in August, but it might be better if it was in the shade. And so, all of that site is taking that in. Again, this is not necessarily what the building is going to look like, but it just gives you an idea of the scale and what this building would require at the concept that we've seen. And so, again, just another, you see that pond being developed to the south there. This is looking back east towards the tollway. Again, just some images of what's going on. These are, this is anticipated to be one of the areas, not only are there concert areas in these big halls, but throughout that hallway, because you're talking about a very grand space that you would be able to have banquets at and performances such as this. And so, again, just another opportunity I think that would be awesome for Prosper ISD and our kids to have the ability to operate a space like this. And we're talking about kids who would have internships here who would be employable the day after graduation. Broadway has made it very clear that their industry, like many industries, lack personnel. And so we're talking about our kids learning everything from acoustics, again, to backstage operations to the front side. And so, this is where we're at. Again, if the election, if the voters of Frisco pass this, this kind of lays out a timeline of what we're looking at. Again, I think aggressively, if things were to go forward, you're probably not occupying the space till 2030. A building like this is going to take a while to build, right? It's going to be a 24-month, a 30-month build because there's a lot of specialty finishes that are going to go in a building like this. And so there's a lot of work ahead. But again, with the team that we've assembled with Mr. Alstron, Mr. Dole, Coach Little, EA and his group, I feel confident recommending this to you tonight, and just wanted you to see that. With that, I'm done, but any questions you have or any clarifications, if I can't answer it, I'll kick it to EA and make him answer. There's the Frisco Center for the Arts.
Just for our community, Dr. Bradley, our Frisco ISD, or our Prosper ISD in Frisco, Texas, tax increase?
It's not a tax increase. There would be no tax increase here. Correct.
Okay, so no tax increase on those propositions. And then also on Friday night at Rock Hill High School, if you want to get more information, there will be a group there they'll have a table set up. We have a talent show that night at Rock Hill in the auditorium, so they'll have a table set up if someone wants to come and get more information, whether you're on the Prosper or Salina or McKinney side of it and you want to know more about this, or you're one of the Frisco, Texas Prosper ISD parents, community members, certainly invited to come and attend that.
Dr. Bradley, thank you for all of your work on this. I think that
Yeah.
at this point, we also want to talk about what you have coming up real quick as you are going to the south of us. But man, we just appreciate all the hard work and dedication you've given Prosper ISD for 12, 13 years now.
I think it's
forget how many
13, yeah, something like that.
But we know that you're going to do awesome down in Ennis, and we are sorry to see you go, but thank you for everything that you've done for us here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been fun to stand here for 7 years and ask for billions, and you've given them. And so thank you for that. Hopefully we've stewarded them well, but thank you guys for the
I thought
opportunity.
you were coming back every month. What happened?
Thank you, Dr. Bradley.
Thank you, Dr. Bradley.
Thank you, sir.
We'll now move into a little more of a local look at fine arts, and Mr. Alstron will provide us an informational report on Prosper ISD Fine Arts. Welcome, Mr. Alstron.
Thank you.
Thank you for voting too. I see your sticker.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to loud and proud wear it.
Very good.
Good evening, Dr. Ferguson, President Beavers, and members of the board. My name is John Alstron, and I'm serving my 6th year as the Fine Arts Director for Prosper ISD. It's my privilege to be able to represent the Assistant Director of Fine Arts, Mr. Tim Doyle, the Fine Arts Office, and the faculty and staff of Prosper ISD as we present this evening's report. The fine arts are integral in developing the whole child, as they inherently promote problem solving, critical thinking, and communication skills. In addition to developing artistic skills through creative expression, the fine arts allow students to observe humanity and apply life skills in order to become well-rounded members of society. Prosper ISD supports the fine arts through its capacity of course offerings and programs such as art, band, cheer, choir, drill, dance, orchestra, theater arts, music electives at the high school level. In addition to music and art at the elementary level, we of course have our Suzuki Strings program, and we are so proud and honored to be blessed with our fourth, maybe final, Suzuki campus at Joyce Hall Elementary, which will be opening in fall of 2025. I left you a report on your desk, and this has a lot of numbers. It goes back 3 years, so you can track all of that in your spare time if you're a data hound, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on that tonight. We all know that the report from Dr. Ferguson was that we were 32,228. That's because we added 2 kids today. This was our number from yesterday. You'll see that we have 93% of kids involved in secondary fine arts, but that does count some double and triple dippers who are involved in multiple fine arts offerings. We're going to talk about those kids here in a minute. Some quick numbers for you. For the 7th year, we've been named a Best Community for Music Education by the NAM Foundation. That's something that Dr. Ferguson helped us start 7 years ago. For the last 5 years, we've been named a District of Distinction by the Texas Art Education Association. And for 3 years, we've been named a Premier Community for Theater Education by the Educational Theater Association. 42 is the number of fine arts teachers that we're adding next year. When I started in this job, we had 48. We're now at 185, so we'll be sitting at 225 or so this time next year. So many celebrations, and I hope that you get a chance to check out that student engagement newsletter that Valerie Little's office puts out. And in that, you'll see our newsletter, and every month we have just a litany of individual and group recognitions and celebrations. And again, I can't present them all tonight. There are just too many. So we're just going to kind of go through a few. As you're aware, we present this state of our department every year, and it's typically enveloped with numbers and statistics illustrating things like the rate of growth and measurement of retention, and a few qualitative celebrations that are intended to describe the success and status of our high-achieving programs. And while statistics are critical to understanding the ebbs and flows of recruitment and retention, it can sometimes lack an even more critical story, and that's about the learning outcomes for our students. By sampling a few of the fine arts journeys of our students, we hope to gain a more complete sense of precisely how the fine arts have impacted our district and its most important group of stakeholders. The following student stories are just a few of so many. We hope that their stories help to encapsulate the excellence of Prosper ISD Fine Arts and the opportunities that you all have helped to make possible for our kids. Aiden Hansen, Windsong Ranch Elementary, Reynolds Middle School, Rushing Middle School, and Prosper High School. Aiden, a hardworking, passionate, and extraordinarily talented student, has cultivated his deep love for dance, piano, choral music, and acting within Prosper ISD, earning him significant recognition, including first chair in the All-State Mixed Choir and numerous UIL acting awards. Known for his exceptional talent, matched by his dedicated work ethic and humble demeanor, this phenomenal representative of Prosper ISD plans to pursue a major in drama and music at Syracuse University next fall. Brooklyn Waters, Boyer Elementary, Rushing Middle School, Rogers Middle School, and Walnut Grove High School. Class of 2029. Brooklyn is a dedicated dancer currently serving as a squad leader for the Rogers Emeralds drill team and looking forward to joining the Silver Elite dance team at Walnut Grove next year. Fueled by her passion for contemporary styles cultivated through school programs and local studios since age 10. Her love for performance and self-expression through dance, along with her ability to foster friendships and personal growth, inspires others in Prosper as she envisions continuing her dance journey at Texas Tech or the University of Miami after high school. Annabelle Nugent, Reynolds Middle School and Prosper High School, class of 2025. Annabelle is a dedicated theater kid with a passion for AP art history and violin. Currently excels as the resident stage manager for Prosper High School Theater, where her love for supporting performers shines through her extensive experience in over 50 productions. Recognized with an Educational Theater Association Thespia Award and a Broadway Dallas nomination, and serving as a student ambassador for the International Thespian Society to advocate for theater, Annabelle is lauded by her directors as the Wayne Gretzky of her department for her numerous accomplishments and commitment to the success of her peers, leaving a legacy of excellence at Prosper High School and in Prosper ISD. Little Elizabeth Holt, Windsong Ranch Elementary, Rushing Middle School, and Richland High School, class of 2029. Liz, an exemplary Prosper ISD fine arts student who began her journey with Suzuki Strings. Her mom founded the program. And art and music at Windsong Ranch Elementary, has enthusiastically explored choir and theater while continuing violin through middle school. Described by her teachers as an extremely talented leader and a joy to be around, Liz plans to continue her fine arts participation at Richland High School and beyond, highlighting the significant role of Prosper ISD's programs in her creative expression. Lauren Morris, Hayes Middle School, Rock Hill High School, class of 2025. Lauren, a dedicated artist since kindergarten, cherishes the unique self-expression and camaraderie found in art, further developing her oil painting skills at Hayes Middle School and earning 3 regional VASE awards. Also a talented seamstress and makeup artist for the theater department, Lauren values art's capacity for storytelling and personal processing. And with the unwavering support of her teachers, she plans to hone her artistic talents at UNT in pursuit of a cosmetology career, just a couple years short of being in that Richland program, right? Just goes to show they are out there. Sarah Jane Hanchey, class of 2025, Walnut Grove High School. Although new to Prosper ISD in her junior year, Sarah Jane's extensive fine arts backgrounds includes community theater, oboe, and choir, leading her family to move to Prosper for its exceptional opportunities. Since joining Walnut Grove, this accomplished choir and theater student has been named an all-state vocalist and a musical soloist national qualifier, valuing theater for its diverse storytelling and personal connection. Accepted into prestigious summer programs at Juilliard and Northwestern, Sarah Jane will pursue a vocal performance major in college, leaving a proud legacy at Walnut Grove and Prosper ISD. Kaylee O'Brien, Baker Elementary, Rogers Middle School, and Rock Hill High School. Kaylee, a senior leader in the Rock Hill High School band, Wind Symphony, and Front Ensemble, began her percussion journey in 6th grade and has excelled as a 2-time finalist in the Prosper ISD Concerto competition, while also dedicating herself to competitive dance, even performing in her studio's Nutcracker performance this December. Recognized for her exceptional work ethic, kind personality, and positive leadership within the band, Kaylee has received a scholarship to Oklahoma City University's dance program. That's it on our individual recognitions. A couple group highlights. Again, we have too many to go into, and I'm trying to keep it at 10 minutes. Windsong Ranch Elementary students, Daya Nanapaga, Zoila Cooper, James Duncan, Emmeline Roberts, and Lilia Bloom participated in the Organization of American Kodai Educators, OAK, National Children's Honor Choir in Chicago this past March. They represented Prosper ISD as 5 of the 200 students selected from a nationwide audition process. They were sponsored by Windsong Ranch Elementary music teacher Corey Fisher. All 3 of our high school cheer programs continue to flourish and grow as they serve their campuses and communities. In the NCAA High School Nationals, PHS placed 5th, and Rock Hill was named national champions in the intermediate crowd leading medium division. Walnut Grove was named the UIL Fight Song State Champions for a 2nd year in a row, and the NCAA team was under a point away from repeating as national champions. They earned the silver medal in the advanced crowd leading division, and the other team placed 4th overall in the game day division. Established in 2021, Rock Hill Cheerabilities continues to provide opportunities for kids and is under the direction of Ms. Hogan and Ms. Torres and supported by Rock Hill cheerleaders. Established in 2023, Walnut Grove Cheerabilities is growing and also continues to provide opportunities for kids. They're under the direction of Ms. Grobe and Ms. Reedy and several student coaches. Established in 2021, PHS United Sound also continues to expand opportunities for kids. They're led by Monica Bartley, our head high school orchestra director at PHS and the team lead for orchestra district-wide. PHS Band returned to UIL State and BOA Grand Nationals this fall. The Mighty Eagle Band returned to the state marching contest for the 4th time in Prosper history and BOA Grand National Finals for the 3rd time in Prosper history. 2 faculty recognitions. Mr. Joshua McGuire. I would like to honor and celebrate Mr. Josh McGuire, head choir director at Rock Hill since 2020. Mr. McGuire served as the TMEA vice president and vocal division chair from 2023 to 2025 this past February. He was providing service to the state and represented our district at the state level at the highest level. And of course, our very own Crystal Chamberlain, a special congratulations to her, our head choir director at Prosper High School, and our district team lead for choir, and one of the conductors of the 380 Elementary Honor Choir. Our district is so blessed to have her. She's an amazing leader and music educator. So congratulations to Crystal on receiving the Superintendent's Award for Outstanding Service and Dedication to Excellence. And that's right, I wish Dr. Croy was here to see this slide. He likes to celebrate this one. I would like to thank this group. This is my final opportunity to say thank you guys for all of your unwavering support for all of our fine arts programs. As we open the doors on our 4 new campuses and the renovated other 2 middle schools, I think we can all agree that the number of opportunities and accolades and success stories will just continue to grow exponentially. While other ISDs across Texas are choosing, unfortunately, to have to cut some fine arts programs and fine arts staffing, I just want to thank you guys for keeping this as a pillar of our community, because as you saw tonight, kids aren't just involved in band, they're involved in 2, 3, 4 things. This is what they do, and it's because of the decisions and the support that you guys are giving in these tough times, and I profoundly thank you for that.
Thank you,
Remember to
Mr.
go
Alston.
vote.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks for that
Thank you.
comprehensive look, Mr. Alston. That was really well
Yes.
done.
Appreciate all the pie charts and graphs, but really enjoyed presentation focused on the students. Sorry, Dr. Penn. Yeah. I enjoyed your pie graphs as well. Pie charts.
I like that. Okay, back into consent agenda on this. You've got A through H there in front of you. May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that the board approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Dial. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. Any discussion on that this evening?
Yeah, I need to abstain from 8B and 8C.
Perfect, thank you.
And I need to
Anything else?
abstain from 8D due to professional reasons.
Yeah,
Sure,
same.
understood completely. Okay, any other discussion from anyone? All right, hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? That is all of us right there, none opposed, so motion carries. That will take us to our action items and 9A. Mr. Witt, I know that you've got some stuff for us coming up here. I will go ahead and read it. Consider and adopt an order authorizing the remarketing of Prosper Independent School District adjustable rate unlimited tax school building bonds series 2022.
Okay, good evening. It's good to be back with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I also have a few charts. Not nearly as good as student achievement, but it's good to be with you tonight. I think about a week ago, met with the Finance Committee to go through this information in detail. And tonight I have the PowerPoint presentation for you, similar to what we've done in the past. So here is our bond buyers index of municipal bonds. Just as a refresher course, this is a national index of municipal bond interest rates. The numbers aren't up there, I'm not sure why, but to the far right, you see a spike. That's not any different than any other financial market that you're witnessing. We do have some volatility in our market. There's a pretty good shot. The number to the right is 5.2%. That's up substantially. The high at the very top of the graph is 6%. The average running across the middle in blue is 4%, and the record low at 2%. So in just a couple of weeks' time, we've had some volatility in our municipal bond market, which is relatively unusual. We're traditionally a pretty boring market, pretty stable market, et cetera. But there is some money movements that are taking place as we speak. You see the volatility on the news every night. That's a national index here closer to home. Our AAA rated school bonds, if you look at that fixed rate bonds at 30-year at 4.9%, probably roughly 5% today. Again, that's a little above average for that 30th maturity. It's not anything that's drastically out of the norm. We've been in all kinds of markets that you see there, but it is a little higher than some of the rates that we enjoyed before. The term rate bonds are what we call the short adjustable rate, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, they're in the 365 range. So again, when we talk about the adjustable rate bonds tonight, one of the purposes of those is to borrow long-term bonds at short-term rates. And this is an illustration of that. So this chart is your authorized but unissued bonds. If you just look at the first 2019 column, you can see back in 2019, a combination of 250 millions for 100 million. 2020, of course, was an off year at 55 million. 21, we had 250 million. 22, 250 million. And then we had a big explosion to our tax base in commercial development. And you have desperate needs for facilities to move quickly. So then we started moving from a $250 million per year. And then you look at 24, 24A in the first column. 24 is on the other side as well. We've been a big issuer of bonds in 2024 going into 2025. And all of the things you see on the screen are the reason for that. And we've also had a tax base up until this point that has we benefited from as it's grown in the commercial base, in addition to the housing market, has allowed us to kind of accelerate those bond issuances. Tonight before you is $300 million out of the 2023 bond election, Proposition A for facilities. And this is here in 2025. I'll go through the timetable in a moment. We'll get preliminary values at the end of April. We'll get certified values at the end of July. As I told the Finance Committee and the administration, we don't really need the certified value to proceed with this $300 million. We're going to get the growth to absorb this $300 million plus everything that you've issued before. Is it going to be in 12 months? Is it going to be in 18 months? It's going to be in 24 months. It's still to be determined. But that speed with which it moves will determine our next installment rather than this one. So what are the related projects? Finishing number 20, you're in the middle of number 7 and number 8 for the middle schools, and you'll finish high school number 4. Elementary 21, I guess I would characterize as being in the middle as well. So at least one elementary school in the middle, 2 middle schools in the middle, and finishing up high school number 4. There is a lot going on here in terms of construction. This $300 million will also be available for campus addition and renovations, the administration and staff center, and then down at the bottom, technology infrastructure, safety, security, transportation. And I put a question mark by land because you're kind of always in the market for land. You may not have an imminent land purchase in front of you, but this $300 million is available for land if you find a piece of property that you need to purchase in the middle of all of the construction. Historical stats. So taxable value drives a lot of our analysis. In 2019-20, you were at 9.7 billion. Just 5 years later, you were at 22.6 billion. So there's some pretty rapid growth in there in your assessed value. In 24-25, you grew at 3.4 billion. If you looked at the chart over a 10, 15-year period, there were periods in there for an extended period of time where we were $1 billion and change, $1.1 billion to $1.9 billion in taxable value growth. Here in the past couple of years, we've hit the $3 and the $4 billion type of tax-based growth. Unfortunately, some of that is offset by changes in the homestead exemption, where we're not necessarily going to get all of that in a hold harmless provision. So y'all know me well enough to know when I put up some yellow flags, one of my yellow flags is additional homestead exemptions without hold harmless for that is problematic for a growing district like yours. It is the growth that supports the growth, okay? And so any derailment of that can impact our bond model, our speed of which we can issue bonds, and therefore the speed at which we can build facilities. So the highest growth in the last 5 years, $3.5 billion. You'll see in parentheses there, $4.2 billion before the additional homestead exemption, okay? Y'all may recall that we talk about roughly $1 billion equals $100 million of bond capacity. So that kind of puts this chart in perspective. You go back to the 5th year, that's when we were still in that $1 billion growth market, which was primarily housing. Now that commercial development comes, it changes our model. INS fund balance is very healthy. In August 24, you were audited with $22 million. That sounds like a big number, but it really is not. It's 18% of your budget. There is planned use of that. We have to balance the cash flows when we get one time per year we get a certified value, one time per year we get to set the tax rate, one time per year we get to set the budget, but there's a lot of moving parts within that 12-month period. So the 22 million is designed to have been built up since 2019, but will also be a part of our plan of finance going forward to use for cash flows in the short term. The plan of finance, again, is 300 million. We've been at 50 cents now for a long period of time. We have to pass the 50-cent test. We pledged some Tier 1 funds with no intention to use them. The amortization is 30 years with an option to prepay in 10 years. The use of the INS fund balance, again, small use of that 22 million for purposes of the cash flow. And then you see additional revenue for repayment of bonds. What is the one wild card in my financial model? Is that we do not know how much hold harmless we're going to get. Right now, we have been held harmless, thankfully, an 11th hour amendment to the last bill in 2023 to be held harmless when we increased from 40,000 to 100,000 on the homestead exemption. There is proposals down there now to go from 100,000 to 140,000. The last that I saw, the hold harmless did not use the same language as before. For us, that means we could have an increased homestead exemption, taking away our tax-based growth without state aid to go along with it. So a game changer in the middle of a bond program. With that said, at the very bottom, what do we need? We're showing, and it's just a preliminary, 4 billion growth minus $1 billion to put the the homestead exemption into perspective, about $1 billion of going from 100 to 140,000. So 4 billion of growth, back off $1 billion, that's 3 billion. We would still need about 2 billion in 26, 27. So this is an issuance here in 25, but it's really for a year to a year and a half, maybe even 2 years worth of growth needed to absorb that. So the pace with which we move going forward is out of anyone's control in the building tonight. It could be very, very rapid, or it could need to tap on the brakes just a little bit from that pace that we set in 2024, where we started seeing the big growth in our commercial value. We also, on your agenda tonight, you have 2 agenda items. One is, again, we have a small portion of our outstanding bonds in the adjustable rate mode. You could have a lot more than we have. We purposefully have taken small bites at a time. Right now, we have 2 $50 million pieces, which is a very, very small percentage as a fast-growing district. The first one was issued in 2019. We remarketed those bonds previously in 2023. The bonds that we issued in 22 at 50 million on a 3-year fixed rate with the option to tender those bonds. We'll need to remarket those this summer, and that will be a part of the plan as well. The thing to note about this is let's measure ourselves, how well the adjustable rate has performed. For the first 3-year period, your interest cost on that was 4.6 million. The equivalent to the fixed rate bond was 6 million. So you are ahead of schedule. We will reset these bonds at a higher rate than we could set in 22. But when you look at the 6-year period, you will still be ahead of if you sold them all as a fixed rate bond in 2022. Okay? And over a 30-year period, you're going to be on the winning side of the interest cost for this bond. So again, your variable rate mode is 4.62% of your overall bond portfolio. We can have by credit rating agents analysis up to 25%. So we carry a small portion. We skipped a cycle of issuing maybe a $50 million piece because the market was not in our favor at that time. It made no sense when our short-term rates went up and our long-term rates came down, so we skipped that cycle. Here's what it looks like on the graph. Again, the boxes there that are not showing up just show kind of the tax-based growth that I mentioned before, 4 billion minus $1 billion, so 3 billion, then 2 billion from the next year. You see 2 years of step up on what looks like turquoise type of graph. The orange there is a small use of your interest and sinking fund balance. But again, you layer this bond on top, we grow into it, and you have stable thereafter. And that's where the next tax-based growth will lead to the next building, which will lead to the next set of bonds. Time-wise, with your authorization tonight, you're delegating authority to the administration. We'll get a preliminary value in April. That will be good enough for our purposes for this district. Not all of my districts can proceed forward without getting their July certified value. This is one that can. So we're looking at maybe pricing these bonds in the week of, the first week of June. That is all to be determined. Our markets are on a roller coaster ride. If we don't follow this schedule, it is because market conditions don't allow for it. Right now, the bond closing is set for right before July 4th, and then we'll get the certified value in July. And then the adjustable rate bond, the remarketing reset of that interest rate has a very specific schedule where you work from the bottom of the page at August 15th, which is our mandatory tender date, and you work back. We'll price that in mid-July, and the authorization tonight will allow us to do that. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you may have with respect to your bond program and our next installment of $300 million.
Yeah, I have a few. So the variable rate, the remarketing of the variable rate of that 50 million, will it remarket as a variable rate or will it go to a fixed rate?
It'll remarket as a variable rate. We'll keep it in that mode probably with the same 3-year term.
Okay, so we'll relook at that 3 years from now.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And you'll remarket the other one that you remarketed 23, you'll be doing that one next year. So you'll get an additional report on how those two smaller portions are performing.
Got it. And on the second agenda or action item we have, though, that 300 million would be issued as a fixed rate.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct, because we're remarketing some bonds now, and we just don't have a great market. And so I'm not recommending that we put any more
Variable.
into that mode currently. I do kind of want to stagger another $50 million, maybe $100 million piece into the off year of this year reset, next year reset, and then that following year, I think we should probably have another bond that is in that mode for what you might call dollar cost averaging, if you will,
Yeah.
on our side as an issuer rather than as an investor.
The last question I had was, would you explain the language of unlimited tax bond?
Yes. So in the state of Texas, we issue our bonds with the concept being that when you issue those bonds, you are required to set a tax rate to pay for those bonds, okay? So that is an unlimited tax pledge to that bond. What that means to the investor is that you're going to set a tax rate that will allow you to meet your principal and interest requirements. We have no defaults in Texas schools, okay? But we also have, as they call it down in Austin now, guardrails. I think we have guardrails without Austin. It's called a taxpayer and a voter, but I'll get off of my pedestal. But the one guardrail that we have is what's called the 50-cent test. So every time that we issue bonds, we have to prove to the Attorney General's office that we have the financial wherewithal to pay for that bond within 50 cents. Some people call that a tax rate limit. That's not technically correct. We have a tax rate test that we have to prove. We have a commitment to our voters that's important to all of us. But in a rare case where a district needed to, say, go from 48 cents to 52 cents, they have the legal authority to do that. That has occurred in a handful of occasions. Most of them are smaller West Texas districts that are mineral values. And I want to say it politely, I don't necessarily think they got good advice, conservative advice, how about that, about how low their tax base could go. So when their tax base dropped, their tax rate went up and it went above the 50 cents. At the time they issued the bonds, they had the tax base, the mineral values to do it. So it's a rare occasion that it goes above it, but that's why we issue unlimited tax bonds. It actually drives down our interest rate because it is a better credit than a limited tax bond. I've sat across, for example, from a large national insurance company, and we had the city there and we had the school there, and they said, we're not buying the city's bonds because they're limited tax, we're buying the school's bonds because they're unlimited tax. So, but with all of that said, for the taxpayers in this district, we've been at 50 cents, we're not going above 50 cents, and that's where we are, even though the language in there is the legal language.
Yeah, perfect. Thank
I
you.
think that is the message,
Yeah, it's
right? Is
legal
that we're not
language.
going above that
Exactly.
50 cent because we're capped at that. But in some type of dire situation, right, we would come back with transparency to talk to our voters, to our community. but 50 cents is where we're going to be,
Yes, and have been for as long as I can remember.
as long as I can remember as well, Mr.
Yeah.
Witt.
And including a large number of building projects, large number of bond projects that go with those building projects, and we still been at 50 cents.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Witt.
Thank you.
Final thing I would say is a big thank you to our subcommittee and the staff for presenting some really great information for us just to review the debt we take on. And so Dr. Penn, Ms. Croy, thank y'all for that data. It was very helpful in reviewing and giving us perspective to be able to come to the table tonight and support what's in front of us.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Any other questions for Mr. Witt? I would say we found the one thing that I might disagree with him on. I would have called that color more mint and not turquoise, but maybe that's just me. Okay. On 9A, we've read that. Let's go ahead and let's have a motion on it, and then we can have any more discussion if any is needed. So can I ask for a motion on 9A?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the order authorizing the remarketing of Prosper Independent School District Adjustable Rate Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds Series 2022, supplementing certain terms of the order authorizing the issuance of the bonds, prescribing the form, terms, conditions, and resolving other matters incident and related to the marketing of the bonds, including the approval and distribution of a remarketing memorandum and the authorization of the execution of a remarketing agreement pertaining thereto, delegating the authority to certain district staff to approve and execute certain documents relating to the remarketing of the bonds and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. That is a heck of a motion
done.
right there.
Very well said.
It's all from memory.
Is there a second to? Thank you, Mr. Linker. Okay, we've had some discussion already, but any further discussion on this needed?
Just want to say thank you to Mr. Witt. He's been with this district for a very long time and has always given us great advice. I remember sitting in 2020 asking him, when are we going to be able to access these dollars? We need buildings desperately. And he, like with a crystal ball, could guess it because he's so very skilled at what he does. So thank you, Mr. Witt.
Yeah, and just to add to that, just so everybody's clear, to Jordan's comment, I want to reinforce that for a minute because these are big dollars we're talking, and none of us take that lightly. And the due diligence that is done by Mr. Witt and the finance team and the finance subcommittee and many people, there's a lot going on before it comes before us. So these big dollars and cents, none of us take it lightly. We realize the obligation that we're signing up for, and we appreciate all the due diligence and work and feeling confident in approving this and moving forward to fund the needed projects.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed, so 9A passes. That will take us right into 9B. Consider and adopt an order authorizing the issuance of unlimited tax bonds, establish sales parameters, authorizing the execution of a bond purchase agreement, approving an official statement, and enacting another provision relating to the subject. Man, I should have had you read that one. You just made the motion. Okay, as we have already gone over this to some degree, is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the order authorizing the issuance of unlimited tax bonds, establishing sell parameters, authorizing the execution of a bond purchase agreement, approving an official statement, and enacting other provisions relating to this subject.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dial. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. Any further discussion to be had? Okay, hearing none, I will call for a vote again. All in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. The motion passes. And again, thank you, Mr. Witt, for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Witt.
Okay, we have
Thank you.
no public comment on non-agenda related items.
So celebration of service, superintendent's report. I'll jump right in. So goal 4 on the superintendent goals, which are also aligned to our strategic plan. Communications and community partnerships, so being able to truly celebrate the great people of Prosper ISD and all that they do, from our paraprofessionals to our professional staff members, principals, assistant principals, and this year a new addition, which is volunteer of the year. You can see right in the middle, our volunteer of the year is Rumna, and she is from Liliana, is the PTO president there and has done a fabulous job. So really being able to lift each of those volunteers up on each of our campuses, which was a move in the right direction because we cannot do what we do without these amazing volunteers by our side. And then next we have, I think I need to jump back. We're fighting over who gets to know. So the Prosper Education Foundation golf tournament that I started off with, the money raised, such a great event. Dr. Carrie Thomas, who's our executive director, does an absolutely outstanding job, and many, many volunteers that are on the Education Foundation. Many of our sponsors who are certainly engaging in work through all the bond sales that certainly Mr. Witt was talking about. Mr. Witt was actually out there playing too. So I had to see a lot of our longtime friends, but also residents and community members of Prosper ISD, because many of our partners live right here, and I hope that they go and vote. So community and communications partnership, I got to go up about 35 feet in the air with that firefighter. And he was like, "Can we go higher?" I'm like, "I'm not scared. Let's go." So we went on up and then got to drop some balls from there. Such a fun event, and certainly something we look forward to each and every year. And another event that is probably just one of my absolute favorite events of the year is the Hope Walk, and being able to see all of our campuses come out, but even more importantly, our community. You see community members from across this great district come out and really rally mental health and the supports and services that are needed and really uplift our kids. It's a fun event, and certainly appreciate all of our board members who continue to support that great work, and to be able to continue our work of Hope Squad on all of our campuses, which will be soon to be 31 working Hope Squads. We might be the biggest around, I'm not sure, but several districts in the state and across the nation, but more importantly, the state. There weren't many of us, and that is a growing number across the state of Texas. So super proud of that work and the incredible work that Ms. Webb and her group does. And then certainly Julie Brantley, can't say enough about her events, but and everything that she does for us, she and her team. And then Ms. Trotter, her team, with all of the great things they do with storytelling for Prosper ISD. And Hope Walk was one of those great events. So certainly a great way to develop that individual development, emotional intelligence for our students, staff, and community. And then the fire truck pull, another fun event that we do in the spring. Dr. Hickey and her team put this on, such a great event, because we see all sorts of different community partners who come out. We have football teams that come and do the pool. We have elementary campuses that come and do the pool. You can see our Prosper ISD police also jumped in on the fun. Probably the best moment was not the fact that the Walnut Grove football team won, but they had a couple of their students in some of our centralized programs join in and really lock arms with them, and they were so excited. That was the day after the Walnut Grove boys won the state championship, and so one of the football players asked me as I was putting the medals around their neck, "So is this as shiny and as pretty as the ones you gave last night?" And I said, "It's close. It's real close." I didn't have the heart to tell them, no, it's nowhere near.
it's not.
But you got a medal. So it's good. It's good. You got a medal. So great event. Certainly appreciate over $3,000 raised and 28 teams participating.
It's a great event.
So fun.
Okay, that now brings us to closed session. We will now recess into closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 071, 072, 074, and 076. Thank you all very much for coming this evening. The time is 10:53, and we are back from executive session. Let's see here, that items discussed in closed session. 13A, consideration and possible action regarding hiring contract personnel. May I have a motion?
Yes, I make motion. I move that the board approve the hiring of contract personnel as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. 13A passes. That brings us to 13B, consideration and possible action regarding real property agreement. May I have a motion?
I'll move. I move that the board approve the agreement of purchase and sale with Grand Oaks Residential Development LLC for land related to a potential future elementary school site as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Dial. Any discussion on this land purchase? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. 13B passes. That brings us to 10:55 PM. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.